This is the Buckeye Roundtable Show presented by Burger King and brought to you statewide by the American Dairy Association Mideast and Cova Insurance, Window Nation, and by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers on the Ohio State Sports Network presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics. Now, along with former OSU All-American Jim Lachey and the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels, here's your host, Skip Mosic.
And hi again, everybody. Welcome into another Buckeye Roundtable show as Ohio State gets set to host Tennessee in a first-round CFP game Saturday night. Joined as always by former OSU All-American, NFL All-Pro Jim Lachey. The season continues.
It must be game week, Skip. I'm getting excited.
It is definitely exciting. Hall of Fame broadcaster, longtime voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
Trying to be as good as you, Skip.
Tell me the Tennessee's quarterback's name again.
Nico Iamaleava.
We'll talk about him and more this hour. Buckeye coach Ryan Day will join us coming up in about a half hour. Uncharted territory for everybody, fellas. We've seen Ohio State in the playoffs prior, but this was obviously a good thing for both of these teams who, let's face it, would have been left out of the CFP in the four-team field, probably playing in a New Year's Six game similar to what we saw in the Cotton a year ago.
Good thing for these two teams. Good thing for also schools like Penn State, who lost in the Big Ten championship game and probably would not have been in the same scenario. Good for a school like SMU, who was able to get that last nod over a big-name program like Alabama. So there's a lot of new nuances to this whole thing.
Well, heck, I remember when 2014, when they went to the four-team playoff and Ohio State just edged their way into that one at that number 4 spot, and certainly we remember how that went. They took care of business, took care of Alabama in New Orleans, and then obviously beating the Oregon in AT&T Stadium for the championship. So it's exciting now that it's 12 games and Ohio State's part of it, and they've been part of these playoffs almost. Well, let's say 4 out of the last 6 years they've had an opportunity to play, and that's all you want. You want to have an opportunity to play in these type of games in this type of a playoff atmosphere, and they have that.
We've seen in the past as far as the non-playoff games where players have opted out. Transfer portal aside, like what we saw at Penn State, you wouldn't think so, but is it only a matter of time, in your opinion, before we see maybe somebody opting out of a playoff game?
Well, yeah, hope not. I mean, we saw Marshall opt out of their bowl game because so many people went into the portal when they lost their head football coach. But it's interesting to see the situation with Penn State with losing their backup quarterback, Bo Pribula. Once Drew Aller announced he was coming back. So it's one of those things. That's what makes the Devin Brown situation so interesting. He's going to go into the portal, but he wants to stay with the team and help them prepare for this. So, but boy, that'd be a tough one, Skip, to see a team opt out of a playoff game.
Yeah, there has to be tampering going on, right? Coaches contacting these guys right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that. And, certainly money talks. If there's money involved, they want you to get you on campus right away. And I understand all that if you want to move on. But playoff game? Are you kidding me? I mean, an opportunity to represent your school, to maybe win a championship, to go through that run. That's what every player kind of dreams about, to get to that opportunity. And, he's kind of walking away from it. So, you learn a little bit about people when you go through times like this, but it's, like I said, it's going to happen, and it has happened.
We heard Ryan Day talk about putting the big disappointment of a few weeks ago behind them. Jim, you lived this in the NFL. How hard is it to do? You
got to move on. You got to flush it. I mean, that game's over. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's something that, you hear it more from fans, especially you're going to hear it here because that's our rivalry game. But, heck, you could lose to the Cowboys when I was with the Redskins and have to play them a couple of weeks later, but you kind of forget about that last. You always got to to move on to that next play, that next game. And, that's what Ohio State has to do. There's nothing that they can learn from that, last game. They got to, kind of reprogram themselves and go out there and try to, get ready to take on a very talented Tennessee team that, obviously what they want to do. They want to run the football and, run it down their throats, averaging 232 yards per game. So that's something that, our defense is going to have to do. And then offensively, I think I'm an offensive player. I don't want to go out just scoring 10 points, like they did against Michigan. So this is an opportunity for these guys to get that bad taste out of their mouth and, make a little run here in the playoffs.
Paul, we've heard all the noise since November 30th. Just your sense about how this team may respond, and I'll put it this way, especially if things don't begin as well as they would like.
Well, we saw, if that happens, Skip, we saw the example of what happened at Penn State going down 10-0. So they've got one point of reference. If things don't go well from the beginning, they've shown how it can kind of bounce back. But it really, the thought that occurs, you think this team would play, paraphrasing, hacked off with the way the regular season ended, especially hearing all the noise from fans and all of the disappointment, and you hope they come out and they play that way.
Tonight's broadcast, as well as all of our Buckeye Roundtables throughout the season, are available on our flagship station's YouTube page. Simply search WBNS Radio on YouTube. You can watch it live or later if you miss any part of it. You can also download the Buckeye Roundtable podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and be sure to subscribe to both. Buckeye fans, you can turn every game into a home gate this season with help from your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Stock up on your favorites from brands like Pringles, Cheez-It, and Coca-Cola, or choose from delicious catering options. Giant Eagle is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Up next, our 60-second timeout as the Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
More of Buckeye Roundtable presented by Burger King coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready? It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right. Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. From biking to bench presses, Milk's protein helps you build lean muscle and gain more from your workouts.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day, means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Buckeye football lives here. The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show presented by Burger King, where you rule, with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Buckeyes are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Join partners American Electric Power, Donato's, Kroger, the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS TV in Columbus in supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Buckeyes Care.
Buckeye Roundtable, 60-second timeout.
All right, guys, let's begin with the obvious, and that's this week's matchup. The Southeastern Conference was formed in 1933. Kentucky played here in 35. LSU was here in 1988. But that's it. This is just the third existing member of the SEC to play here in Columbus. Texas will be here next year. Do you enjoy these matchups in the regular season moving forward?
That would be nice to see, and certainly it's going to be interesting to see moving forward when you think about Alabama's AD's comments about maybe they need to change their scheduling philosophy once they've been left out. But certainly, and especially in a situation, as you said, Skip, like the Texas game next year, similar to a couple of years ago, the Notre Dame game to open the season here at home. It adds some excitement early on. And how many people complained this past year about the lack of a big non-conference opponent for Ohio State? Now, it was supposed to be Washington, but we know how that kind of transpired. But sure, that'd be great, especially something that you haven't even seen in a bowl game.
No, I think it's a fan. It's great to have those big-time matchups. Now, if I'm a coach, I'm an AD, I might think, all you need to be is undefeated. You're going to get in the playoff now, 12 teams. If you have that one loss, it doesn't matter to who it is, it's going to affect you, There's no such thing as a good loss, so to speak. So I don't know. I don't know if you need to schedule these now with a 12-team playoff. Of course, back when there was a 4-team playoff, you kind of needed to have a little bit of that meat on your schedule, and that's why they went out and lined up these teams. I think Alabama was on our schedule, Texas, and trying to get that home and home. Now, again, like I said, from a fan perspective, I enjoy that. I like it. It's going to be fun for us and what we do. But as a coach or an AD or somebody involved, I just don't know if it's the best step forward is to have these type of games on your schedule with the processes they have, because again, it could hurt you at the end, and not make the playoffs or, not have your ultimate goal. But again, if you lose one of these non-conference games, you still have the conference. So you take care of business there, you win your conference, you're already going to have your seat into the playoffs.
It kind of, you brought up the Alabama AD, kind of rode the coattails of what Nick Saban questioned last week about strength of schedule not being taken enough into account with the CFP committee, therefore questioning why teams would put themselves in a position where they may lose and not be rewarded at the end.
Well, and I think that goes back to, Skip, you brought it up a few weeks ago about the conference championship games, and that's where SMU got that added data point by being in the conference championship game. It helped them, even though they lost the game. It certainly didn't hurt Penn State by being in it and losing it. So if you're going to have the conference championship games, there has to be some value to them.
Yeah, and look at strength of schedule. Ohio State, lost to Oregon by 1, but they beat Penn State, they beat Indiana, 2 teams that are, 3 teams that are all involved in the playoffs, counting Ohio State, there's 4, but they beat 2 of the 3. So, that strength of schedule was there for Ohio State, and that's probably why they have a home game.
All right, up next, on the field. Statistically, you can look at it and see what Tennessee is good at. Let's start on defense. What must Ohio State do a better job of Saturday than they did in their last game, especially against a very good volunteer defensive front, meaning Ohio State's offense?
Well, exactly that, Skip. They've got to keep that defensive front from doing what Michigan's defensive front did, and that goes to the offensive line. Ryan Day talked about how Luke Montgomery now might be part of the rotation at guard, but they've got to be able to protect. They've got to be able to open the holes for the running backs, and, it's been a while since we've seen a running back at Ohio State break off one of those terribly long runs, and can they protect Will Howard? Because you saw in the last game, he was rushed and forced into some bad decisions.
Yeah, even though they didn't give up a sack, they gave up a lot of pressures in that game, and that did affect some of those decisions. To me, the number one key is having the ability to run the ball on first down, second down, so you have third and manageables, and then, you not only do you want to run the ball, but you have to be good on third down conversions. That's something that, we weren't good. You go back to the Michigan game, we had 7 plays in the fourth quarter, and 4 of those were with 45 seconds to go. So basically a 3 and out, and then, you're at the end of the game type situation, a red ball, 2-minute offense type thing, trying to move the ball down the field, and didn't have sex to do that. Now, it's hand in hand. Your defense has to make the other team punt, has to get stops. So you have some of those opportunities, but when you get your opportunities, you got to have the ability to move the ball down the field, and certainly a running game bails out. Now, again, I'm kind of old school. I'm an offensive lineman that likes to run the ball. You've got to have the ability to run the ball. That's the first thing that you think of, having, I'm going to go out and knock this guy off the line of scrimmage and be more physical. That's the only way you own that fourth quarter, is if you physically beat up that defensive lineman for 3 quarters, get him worn out and tired a little bit so that you can own him in the fourth quarter and you can move the ball down the field. And that's something that this offensive line, and again, there's circumstances there. We understand what they are. Injuries, injuries. 2 injuries there, 2 key positions. kind of messed up the mojo a little bit that offensive line had. But for Ohio State, you got to have guys, dependable backups that can step up.
And maybe run it unconventionally if going up the middle isn't working.
Exactly.
All right, up next, it's going to be the same for both teams, but we know it's going to be chilly. The high on Saturday, right now the forecast is 25. That's during the day. It's going to dip down into the teens, obviously, by game time. Any concerns about that impacting Ohio State's ability in the passing game and taking advantage of their skilled players?
It possibly could, but, I think back to 1981. The Freezer Bowl down in Cincinnati when Max Montoya, David Lapham, and Anthony Munoz came out for warm-ups with no sleeves and Vaseline on their arms to keep the body heat in. You just show that, you're used to it and it doesn't affect you if it's going to be that cold. I don't know what the coldest Tennessee's played in this year, but, play with their minds.
Yeah. No, I think, number one, it's going to be cold for both teams in Ohio State. And, again, you look at that, the wind is probably the more important factor. Cold everybody can deal with, but when it's windy, you saw how it affected Ohio State a little bit in that passing game. At least kind of that's what they mentioned. Yeah, that's why you have to, again, have the ability to run the ball because that travels in all weather conditions, having the ability to move the ball down the field. But, hey, it's cold. Get used to it, man. If you're going to play in the NFL, you're going to get some games like this, on the northeast part of the country.
And it was cold the Michigan game, too.
In Green Bay and Madison, over there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, you're going to get some of those cold type of games. Now, you used to say that about the Vikings, but they're indoors now. You don't have to worry about it.
All right, real quick, opposite side of the ball. Tennessee's strength on offense, what would you say that is? And I guess as Ohio State, have they shown you enough through 12 games that that defense can play with anybody?
Well, obviously with what Dylan Sampson does running the football, that seems to be their strength. Nico Iamaleava has been very inconsistent, even though he's dangerous. He doesn't present a running threat, at least not much of it anyway. So this Ohio State defense, if they can get some pressure on the quarterback and make them have to throw the ball, get a lead, maybe that neutralizes what Dylan Sampson can do.
Yeah, when you look at the wide receivers, they're all kind of, balanced out. There's not one guy that stands out. Their leading receiver, McCoy, has 35 receptions. White has 33. Thornton, 25. So they balance it out. It's not like Ohio State where Mecca's got 60-some and, Jeremiah 50-some. So, they want to count on Sampson going out there and dominating, and the big old offensive line that, for the most part has been together the whole year. Probably their best offensive lineman is their center, number 63, Cooper Mays.
Really big show ahead, fellas. Buckeye coach Ryan Day will join us coming up in just a bit. Tim May of Letterman Row, Adam Rittenberg of ESPN, Bob Kesling, the longtime voice of the Volunteers, plus two other Big Ten teams that are in CFP games this weekend. Penn State hosts SMU. We'll visit with Steve Jones, voice of the Nittany Lions. And Friday night, Indiana will be at Notre Dame. We'll get a preview of that next with the longtime voice of the IU Hoosiers, Don Fisher, as tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
You're listening to Buckeye Roundtable, presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
The best outcomes for treating cancer come from early detection and early diagnosis.
The James Cancer Diagnostic Center at Ohio State
is designed to provide rapid evaluation and a clear diagnosis.
We are transforming care by giving patients direct access.
The cancer experts who study and treat cancer every day.
If you think you have cancer, the choice is clear.
Choose the James Cancer Diagnostic Center.
Hey, Ohio State fans, it takes a lot of energy to root for the Buckeyes. That's why Burger King is going to get your team going with the $20 Buckeye Blitz Bundle. This OSU fan exclusive has a delicious lineup that includes 2 Whopper sandwiches, 1 cheeseburger, 3 small fries, and 3 small drinks. Get over to your local BK and get fueled up for game day. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Come on over to Heartland.
Getting a mortgage? We take pride in providing the value and service you deserve in one of the most important transactions you'll ever have. Community banks have the most flexibility and the lowest rates. Now fact check that. I'm Scott McComb, CEO. Coming over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Toyota-thon is on. Our biggest event of the year is better than ever, with our biggest and best selection, including the best-selling Toyota Camry. It's all hybrid all the time, with available all-wheel drive. Now through December 2nd, you can lease a Camry LE from just $269 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing, with approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details, or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
The Fan. Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show presented by Burger King, where you rule. With Jim Lachey and Paul Keels, I'm Skip Mosic. Saturday nights, it's Ohio State and Tennessee. We'll be on the air from Ohio Stadium with the Buckeye pregame show beginning at 6:30 p.m.
It's time for the Buckeye Roundtable Big Ten Breakdown.
Two other Big Ten teams, though, in action. CFP games this weekend. We're joined for a few minutes now by Don Fisher, longtime radio voice of the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana will be at Notre Dame Friday night in a CFP game. And, Don, I know it's been a great story throughout the season. At what point did you realize that something pretty special might be happening there in Bloomington?
Well, kind of, Skip, at the very beginning of spring practice last spring. I'm being honest about that, too. I went down to see 10 of their 13 spring practices just to see what kind of coach Curt Cignetti was, and I was totally impressed. I watched so many of those practices, watched his philosophy, how he went about things, how he was building the culture. And I came home to my wife one night and I said, I think we're going to be a winner this coming season. She goes, really? So there was a lot of doubters out there, but I was right. I didn't expect to go 11-1 though and make history at Indiana, but it's been a special year.
So Don, the win at Purdue, was that pretty much a statement about getting into the playoffs, or was it vindication for maybe what the Boilermakers have done in recent years against Indiana?
I think it was a combo platter, Paul. I really do. I mean, I know that the committee had said that style points were important, and Curt Cignetti took that to heart. And obviously, Indiana fans relish the fact that they were able to put 66 on the Boilermakers for the first time in history and make it one of the biggest wins in the history of the program. So, no question about that. It was both. And honestly, I think Indiana could have beaten Purdue by maybe another couple of touchdowns if they'd wanted to, because they put the reserves in probably midway through the fourth quarter.
Don, you talk a lot about Cignetti, but also his staff, and he's got one of the youngest staffs I see in your game notes. They're the fourth youngest staff in college football, and both the coordinators are 35 and under. And that just says something about it. It's just not to get hurt, but he's got a kind of a bunch of youthful guys underneath him, and they're getting these guys fired up to go each and every week.
Yeah, and the thing about it is most of these guys have been with him for several years. Now, obviously, there were four different coaches that they hired new because they didn't all come from JMU. But the fact is that they got 6 of these guys who have been with him for several years now. They believe in this guy. They believe in what he's preaching and how he goes about his business. They know the organization is phenomenal. And there's little question he's kept all of these guys except for Tino Sunseri, who's going out to UCLA to be their offensive coordinator. And I think he joins his dad out there in some form or fashion. I think his dad is either the recruiting coordinator for UCLA or something in that vein. But he kept the rest of these coaches. All of these coaches obviously got raises, and these guys love Curt Cignetti, I can tell you that.
Don, did this year's success, could you tell anything measurable with what happened in the early signing period and as far as maybe ticket sales for next year?
I can tell you right now, this place will be sold out next year for almost every ball game. I don't think there's any question about that. They've changed the ticket prices, too, as you might imagine.
Really?
They're going up So it's going to be a little bit different next year, but I don't think there's any doubt they're going to sell a lot of season tickets, and I don't think there'll be a lot of tickets available if this program continues to do what we think it can.
I look at your record or your thing. 1999 or 1991 was the last time you guys played Notre Dame. Now, why isn't this something that happens more often, Don?
Well, the first time that it happened in my tenure was 91. The only time it's happened since then, and obviously 1958 was the previous first time that they'd played in many years. So it's never been one of those ongoing series. Purdue had that with Notre Dame for many, many years. Obviously, there were other Big Ten schools, Michigan and Michigan State, also that they played pretty consistently through those years. They didn't want to play another Big Ten team. I think that was the reason that Indiana never got another bid.
Besides that, Don, I mean, just regardless of what's at stake on Friday, just the excitement level there in Bloomington of playing an in-state opponent, that being Notre Dame.
Yeah, it is. There's no question that this has brought about as much excitement as we've seen in Indiana football ever. And without question, it's the biggest game ever because it's the next one. At least that's what Coach Cignetti would say.
Don Fisher, longtime radio voice of the Indiana Hoosiers. Don, we know you got to run, so we always appreciate your time. Thanks for hopping on. Have a great broadcast on Friday, okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys, and good luck to Ohio State against Tennessee.
All right, Don Fisher again. This is cool. It's cool for him to do this as long as he's done to call some of the games in the venues he's got to see this year.
Well, it's like we talked about. Indiana hadn't been to the Rose Bowl since 1967, and they went out there and played a regular season game against UCLA. So a guy that is legendary as Don is, a couple of years ago he won the Chris Schenkel Award, which is the Heisman Trophy for guys that do what Don does.
And you too.
Well, levels below, despite what Bruce Pearl said. But, what a great thing for him. But, it really was great, too, to see the way the fans flocked to that stadium in Bloomington this year.
It is. I mean, and that just goes to prove you that if you can have a winner, fans will be there. They're going to find a way to show up. And, there was a lot of times when we played Indiana the last, 20-some years doing this gig where there was more Ohio State fans in Memorial Stadium than there was, Indiana fans. I mean, you could, especially on that west side of the stadium, it seemed like there were always a bunch of Buckeye fans there, or east side, I should say. But now you can kind of see, like, the excitement is taking off. You saw that halfway through the season, when you saw, just turn on the games, like, wow, they got a full stadium, and just something you're not used to seeing there at Indiana. But that's the kind of excitement that Curt Cignetti's been able to bring to that program.
This is our Big Ten segment. We had 4 Big Ten teams make the playoffs, obviously 3 in action this weekend. I know it's all about themselves, but how does the Big Ten need to fare this weekend to validate that number, or do they?
I think they probably do. If a couple of teams can get victories, and move into the next round, I think that says a lot, especially in a year in which the SEC was not the dominant conference that they've been in the past. So it would be big if, the Big Ten can get at least 2 wins. If a third one could pull it off and they could move in, that'd be incredible.
And I got to think 2 of the 3, I don't know this for sure, but Indiana's probably the only underdog in the group. Penn State's a favorite. Ohio State's a favorite in this game. And, Notre Dame, Indiana, that's going to be a heck of a game because you're going to see these guys come up and, give it all they got. Now, it's not like you got a bunch of Indiana kids playing against Notre Dame because, as we know, most of their roster came from James Madison, so they're from all over the country. But still, an opportunity to represent the state, of Indiana, being the Hoosiers, to go to Notre Dame. That's got to be something these guys will have a memory for a lifetime. And then if they win, those guys will be heroes in Bloomington forever.
Notre Dame has been a conundrum. They've looked very good. And then, boy, that one loss, you just can't help but just look at that and go, how?
You think about it. They get that win in the beginning of the season over Texas A&M, which maybe people didn't realize how good a win that was at the time. Yeah. And then Northern Illinois jumps them. And, you think about it. Notre Dame, not even just this year, but, back when they lost to Marshall a few years ago, they left you quizzical, but they're one of those teams with the way they finished, one of those teams that a lot of people said maybe you don't want to play them, and then you didn't know where things were going to factor in entirely with them out not having the data point for a conference championship game. But there they are, and they're playing really, really well going into this whole thing.
Well, they finally figured out the quarterback, Riley Leonard, has been playing a lot better, than they had Hartman the year before, and Ohio State had an opportunity to see him up close. I mean, they're tough out. Their defense is very good. They're, and that's kind of what the DNA of what Marcus Freeman's bringing to that team. And speaking of Marcus, how about that? He got a new 4-year extension on the contract, so that shows, obviously a lot of faith that they have in him. And part of that came because there's some NFL teams sniffing around a little bit, inquiring about Marcus, being a coach at that level in the NFL. And it's good that he was able to get an extension and stay there in South Bend because, certainly he's got a young family. You don't like to move those around too much if you don't have to. Back to our game here Saturday night at the Horseshoe, Ohio State and Tennessee. Fans have been clamoring for a non-noon game. You need the fans to show up. Everybody heard what a certain analyst said about the crowd. How important will that home field be, and how important is that crowd on Saturday?
Well, the crowd's going to be huge, and you hope the crowd, while so many people were so disappointed about the result of the Michigan game, and understandably so, they're going to be needed. And, Ryan Day put the clarion call out for the Indiana game. This is going to be interesting because we don't know what's going to be different as far as the in-stadium atmosphere. This is not going to be like a regular Ohio State home game. Some people might think that's a good thing. Some people might not be concerned about it. But it's a college football playoff run event. So they're going to be the things that get the fans fired up, or they're going to be the things that don't get the fans fired up. So there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to that, but if the fans just come make noise, it doesn't matter. I think what you mean by the college playoff running it, there is going to be a little bit of neutrality on that, you know what I mean? So
there will be a Tennessee intro video like you see at a bowl game, that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it won't just be all the Ohio State, but hey, like you said, they've been clamoring for night games. I think our last home night game was, Western Michigan? Early in the year. I know we played Michigan State on the road at night. But yeah, we've had a whole lot of night games at the Shoe, and like I said, they've been tired of the noon start, so they're going to have it.
And maybe they'll stick around in the second half as opposed to the Western Michigan game.
They're going to have to, right.
Again, it's Ohio State and Tennessee Saturday night, 6:30 is when we'll be on the air from Ohio Stadium. Up next, we are scheduled to be joined by Ohio State coach Ryan Day as the Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
This is Buckeye Roundtable, presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Buckeye Nation, Paul Keels here for my other favorite nation, Window Nation. If you're a fan of scoring, you're going to love this. Window Nation is going nuts with an incredible offer just for you. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free plus 0 down and 0 payments with 0 interest for 2 years. And if you order a full house of windows, you'll be part of a full house at the Shoe with tickets to a Buckeye game. Call Window Nation today at 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. Tell them Paul sent you for the Buckeyes Full House Special.
As the official hot dog of Ohio State athletics, Sugardale is dedicated to delicious. Whether you're cheering on the Buckeyes at the game or grilling at your home tailgate, you can count on Sugardale to score a touchdown. Made right here in Ohio for more than 100 years, Sugardale has always taken a personal approach to making great tasting, high-quality meats. Look for Sugardale hot dogs, bacon, ham, and more at your local grocery store.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This is Ohio State head football coach Ryan Day, asking you to help provide 2 million meals to feed our community. Just round up at the register today. Every dollar provides 10 meals for neighbors in need. Get in the game and let's tackle hunger.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
Your home for Ohio State Athletics, The Fan. You're listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show presented by Burger King, where you rule. With Jim Lachey and Paul Keels, I'm Skip Mosic. Saturday nights, Ohio State and Tennessee, 8 o'clock kickoff. All the play-by-play right here on your local radio station. We are joined for a few minutes now by Ohio State coach Ryan Day. His comments are presented by Kroger. And, Coach, this format is new for everybody. With the quick turnaround, in what ways is it challenging, if at all, to get back in the regular game week routine for your team that you're used to?
No, it's been good. I think, we had a week where, you had a chance to, make some adjustments, and then Sunday found out, who our opponent was, and then we're able to get right back into a routine. Did that last week, and then we're back into our game routine this week. So, didn't play the game this past week, but had a week to get our legs back underneath us, address some issues, get back on the field last week, and now again into the game week.
Coach, I know you talked about having senior tackle. Was that a place where really some of the more mature players showed what this program means and what this opportunity means to them?
Yeah, we have a great group of guys, and it's a great setting and it's an intimate setting. But there's a part of me that wishes a lot of people got a chance to listen to these guys talk and see them thank their parents, their teammates, because you can clearly see how much they love Ohio State. They love this program. They love their teammates. And this is a great group. They're a resilient group, and their resilience and their experience and things that they've learned throughout their career is going to really be a big part of our run here this next month.
Coach, I know I think you said 29 seniors had a chance to go through that senior tackle, but that's also important for those freshmen, those sophomores, those juniors looking on to see how fast this thing goes. This is not one of those things that you do forever. It kind of goes by in a blink, and next thing you know, next year's class is going to be up there. And, if we see some of those young guys to see what it means, it just has to kind of make you feel good and know that these guys are here for the right reasons.
Well, the senior tackle has been going on for, 112 years. And, when you think about or the 112th, version of it, it's amazing when, every year, I'm sure there's a lot of the things that are the same and a lot of things that are different about the game of football. But, all these guys continually talk about how fast it goes and, making sure that they understand, first off, to, appreciate everything, to have urgency, but also in today's day and age to stick it out, to push through, tough times, because the easy thing to do nowadays is to just, try somewhere new and get discouraged. And so much of what these guys talked about yesterday was just the ebbs and flows of their experience here. The good times, the bad times, but that's what life's all about. And it's great when young guys can see guys who have been as successful as they have, who are as mature as they are, great leaders, great men, standing up before them and giving them advice and wisdom. And, our guys were appreciative that they were to spend time and listen. And, they're going to use that moving forward.
We've asked you a lot, and you've talked a lot about the leadership on this football team. Is it even that much more important now when you get ready to tackle a new and a unique situation like the playoffs?
Yeah, we knew that this is going to be a new season in terms of the length of it. And we've been talking about that all season. So I believe that because of our maturity and our depth, we're very well positioned to enter into this playoff. And a big part of that is going to be our seniors. They're the ones that are going to have to lead the way and lead from the front. And we'll use some of our playoff experience to reference that. What this is going to be like. It's going to be different in that it's a home game. It's not going to be a bowl game. The game is coming quicker, only off of 3 weeks, but there's a lot of things here that we can reference to help us in terms of our preparation.
Coach, everybody wants to start fast. What do you think your team has to do to come out there and start fast, being an 8 o'clock game and, keeping the crowd engaged and loud the whole time?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing is, it's about, getting the first down. And what does that entail? Execution. And, it starts on first down, getting 4 yards or more. And, whether you're running or passing, whatever that might be, you got to execute at a high level. And then, as how you execute on first and second down dictates what type of situation you're in on third down. And, you look back on our last game, we only had, I think it was just over 30% were first and second down plays and what we call CNN, situation normal, and the rest of them were situational plays. And so we've got to do well in the situations. We've got to do well when we are in third down. We've got to do well when we get into the red zone, 2-minute situations, coming out. These are all situational things that when you look at big games, that they become magnified. And when you look at the NFL playoffs every year, it's even more magnified, and it'll be that way this Saturday.
With all the situations your defense has seen, is it prepared them for the anticipation of tempo from Tennessee and all other variables that could occur?
Yeah, we've seen tempo this year. Their tempo is very, very fast, and they do a very good job of it. Very good team. They've been doing this for a long, long time, and they have a lot of experience doing it. So it's our job to make sure that we're communicating very well so that we can get aligned and, we can get into the right calls that allows us to go play fast and tackle and then get lined up again and do it again. Because anytime you're playing against a tempo team, they're counting on you not to be aligned. They're counting on you not to communicate and not run to the football. Those are all things that have to get done.
Coach, saying that, does that make you go with a little bit more basic on some certain looks and certain speeds like that, hey, we just want to be sound, not especially try to come up with trickery, so to speak, on some of those downs, but just want to make sure you got everybody covered?
That's the balance. I think what their hope is that they can get you to be really basic. The thing is, I was talking to the staff the other day. Chip really was one of the first ones to do the no huddle and to spread people out, and I was his quarterback. So this thing's come full circle, and we kind of know how that works. You're counting on defenses to be more basic, more bland, and so for us that's the balance. We got to get lined up. We got to make sure that we're allowing our guys to play, but we also, can't be in a situation where we're easy to target.
Coach, I know you lost 2 starters on that offensive line, but you still got to build depth. You got to have competition amongst that group. Have you been able to find some competition amongst that group these last couple of weeks that you can feel confident about putting some of those other guys and maybe haven't seen as much playing time in there to give them a shot?
Yeah, Luke Montgomery has been out there and he's been working hard, and if he continues to practice the way that he's been, at least last week, he's going to find himself an opportunity to get on the field. And so, I actually spoke with him, a few weeks ago and said, you just got to keep coming because you just never know when exactly this thing's going to happen and when your opportunity is going to come. And, if he continues to have a good week of practice, he'll find himself in the mix. How many snaps and how we rotate is to be determined, but he's a guy that we're looking to, give an opportunity here in this game.
Coach, we know the preference would obviously been to play your way into a bye for the playoffs, but obviously not embracing the home game at Ohio Stadium. You alluded to it a couple of minutes ago. Message to the fans to show up in full force on Saturday.
Well, I'm excited for our players. They've earned the opportunity to be in the playoffs, and this is a new era, and our team is excited about that, and that's where the focus is right now. But I'm also excited for the fans to get back together and, to be in the first playoff game ever at Ohio Stadium. And our team is going to compete for a national championship. We are in the playoffs. And, you know, we got a great opponent coming in here. And, you know, it's going to be an 8 o'clock kick. And I know that our guys are going to play their tails off. You know, again, you know, listening to the way that they spoke about their team, about their university yesterday at senior tackle, it just confirmed to me what I already knew, how much they love this program and how much they love this university. And they're going to play their tails off on Saturday. And I know the crowd's going to be on fire, and, you know, is going to make sure, you know, that they, you know, get back together here with a lot of passion, with a lot of intensity, and make sure that we get some momentum in this playoffs as we head into this thing.
Ohio State coach Ryan Day. Coach, we always appreciate your time. We'll see you for your radio show on Thursday, okay?
All right, thanks, guys.
Coach's comments presented by Kroger. Kroger Pickup is the easy way to get what you want right when you need it. Try Kroger Pickup today in the Kroger app or at Kroger.com. Up next, we will hit the red zone with Tim May of Letterman Row as tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
More of Buckeye Roundtable presented by Burger King coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
Where more than 1,700 scientists are working on new treatments and new hope for every form of cancer.
You're making the choice to have the most advanced treatments, many of which were developed right here.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Toyotathon is on, and it's the perfect time to wrap up the year with a new RAV4, America's best-selling SUV. Now through December 2nd, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 24 RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid. Excludes RAV4 Prime. Or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $309 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details. Or go to Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium Tours offers a variety of options and pricing that will meet your needs. For more information, visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com and book your tour of Ohio Stadium today.
Hey Columbus, looking for the perfect day trip? Head to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. Dive into football history, see legendary players, and enjoy interactive exhibits. Fun for the whole family. Visit ProFootballHOF.com for tickets. The Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, where it's always football season.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show presented by Burger King, where you rule, with Jim Lachey, Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. For every Buckeye touchdown scored this season, the Heartland Bank Community Foundation made a donation to the USO of Central and Southern Ohio, benefiting our active duty military personnel and their families. For more information or to support our troops, go to usocso.org and be the force behind the forces.
Buckeye Roundtable Red Zone.
Joined for a few minutes now by Tim May of Letterman Row, Ohio State and Tennessee coming up on Saturday. And Tim, I asked the guys this earlier, wanted to get your thoughts. I know Ohio State's only thinking of themselves as they should be, but from a conference image standpoint, how important is it for the Big Ten to have a good showing this weekend, or does it matter?
Of course it matters, across the nation and around the world. People will be using it as, once again, a barometer, Big Ten versus SEC. And, when you really look at this game, this may be the most closely matched matchup in the college football playoff. And, because the way these guys both stand on defense, I think Ohio State's, statistically maybe a little bit better on offense, but these are two really good defenses going at each other, going at the other team's offense. And so, yeah, it matters a lot. We all know that. We're in the media. That's what you talk about, right? When you don't have anything else to talk about. Well, what about the SEC supremacy over the Big Ten? That's I was trying to do a Paul Keels voice there. Didn't quite make it. But, it's like, of course it is. It's bragging rights. And that's really what college football comes down to, is bragging rights. That's why the polls were started a long time ago. So it does matter.
Duly flattered by the invitation.
Yeah, not close.
What would you make out of when Ryan Day was asked today about speaking with Chip Kelly and addressing their offensive approach against Michigan and how they've moved beyond that?
I wrote about it after the game. We all talked about it. I talked about it before the game on our pregame show and other stuff, on LettermanRow.com, that the one thing you didn't really want to do is bang your head against the wall against that really good Michigan defensive front. And Ohio State did that way too many times, Paul. You know that. You watched it. You called it. And so it sounds like there was quite a heart-to-heart. And whether that heart-to-heart was going on as the game went on is really not really clear, but it sounds like a message was delivered in one form or fashion. And, as Chip Kelly said today, I don't know if you were at the press conference one time when I asked him if you ever thought about just kind of throwing the game plan out and just throwing the ball, not every down almost, but getting after us a while ago during the regular season. And he kind of said, no, you kind of have a game plan. But, now it sounds like, hey, you got three, four really talented wide receivers. You got to use. I almost said three different things that would be really bad on the radio.
Thank you.
You got to use.
Thank you for not.
And yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You got to squeeze that melon, so to speak. And so we'll see if they do. I mean, I'm. There's no reason not to. I mean, that's where, if there is a little bit of an advantage for Ohio State, it will be Ohio State's wide receivers against their defense, but their defense is pretty damn good across the board.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more surprised that at the end of the year we've, ran the ball 61 more times than we threw the ball. Sometimes you think you'd be more pass heavy with the type of receivers we have. But Tim, you've been around.
Let me interrupt you though. But even back in the day when you played, with the Redskins,
yep.
Man, if they were giving you something,
take it.
Go get it, and that's what Michigan was doing. And when I asked Ryan Day about it right after the game, of course, he said they threw the ball 33 times, only ran it, 26. But, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm not going to get in an argument with this guy, but they probably should have thrown it or run it 10 fewer times, It's the way I was looking at it. Go ahead now.
Throw them out of the box. Tim, like you said, you've been doing this a while. Did you ever think it would come to the point where we're hosting a playoff game here in Ohio Stadium in December? But, here we are. It's going to happen here in 5 days.
Yeah, I wrote a story right after the press conference today just about the weather. And the weather for the players, for the most part, it shouldn't be a factor. You feel more sorry for the fans, have to sit out in. It's going to start at mid-20s and drop as the night goes on. Matter of fact, you'll be in the middle of the night when the damn thing starts. But no, it is extremely interesting in all kinds of respects. And you know that, Jim, how people have always wanted the South to come north when it gets cold and play some games. I'm not sure that's good for either team, but now you've got it in triplicate on Friday night and then Saturday. I mean, at Notre Dame, at Penn State, and then at night at Ohio State. So we'll see how this really matters.
Tim May, Letterman Row. Tim, we always appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. You know that, fellas.
Absolutely. Coming up, hour number 2 of tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show. We'll recap our Encova Insurance Archie Griffin High School Player of the Week awards, our American Dairy Association Mideast's top high school performances, and recap of the state championship games. Steve Jones of the Penn State Network, Adam Rittenberg of ESPN, Bob Kesling of the Volunteer Network. All that and more, hour 2 of tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show here on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Get ready, Buckeye fans. Donato's just added something special to the pizza playbook. Introducing Donato's new Block O pizza. Donato's golden thin crust cut in that trademark Block O shape, loaded with crispy pepperoni, smoked provolone cheese, and Buckeye Spirit. It's the perfect pizza for game day or any day in Buckeye country. Now get a Block O pizza for just $10 with any pizza purchase. Order today with the Donato's app or at donatos.com.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
Family dinners, game nights, and holiday parties. It all happens at home, and we want to help you realize your dream of homeownership. We're the Ohio Housing Finance Agency, and if you're ready to buy a home, we may be able to help. Visit myohiohome.org for more information on down payment assistance, lower interest rates, and more. OFA makes purchasing a home more affordable. Visit myohiohome.org. Home ownership. Make it part of your future.
Time for a halftime snack? Up your hosting game with Bob's Discount Furniture. Bob's has plenty of stylish, feature-packed bar carts, coffee tables, dining sets, even seating with drop-down drink tables for those times when you just can't miss a play. And best of all, you can find everything at Bob's everyday low prices. So stop by and score big when you shop Bob's Discount Furniture, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Buddy Wells. We'll start with the NFL's Week 15 of the regular season. Wraps up tonight with a pair of Monday Night Football games. First up at 8, it's an NFC North matchup in the Twin Cities as the Vikings host the Bears. And then at 8:30 tonight, the Falcons will face the Raiders in Sin City. And college football game week is underway for the Buckeyes as this Saturday night, Ohio State will play host to Tennessee in the first round of the first ever 12-team college football playoff. The Buckeyes and Volunteers will kick off at 8 o'clock on Saturday night at the Shoe. We'll have coverage for you here on the Fan all day this coming coming Saturday. And in college hoops, the Ohio State men and women are both at home tomorrow on Tuesday. At 12 noon, the 11th ranked women will host Grand Valley State. Matt Andrews will be on the call starting at 11:45 over on ESPN Columbus. And then tomorrow night, the men host Valpo with the tip-off at 8. Our fan coverage will get started at 7 tomorrow night with Timmy Hall and the warm-up show. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Toyota Thon is on, the perfect time to shop for a new SUV with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like the family-size Highlander and the bigger, more powerful Grand Highlander. Now through December 2nd, get any new Highlander or Grand Highlander with 5.99 APR financing up to 72 months, including hybrid models, with $1,657 per thousand borrowed. Subject to approved credit through TFS. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Buckeye Roundtable, presented by Burger King, is on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
And welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Saturday night, it's Ohio State and Tennessee. More on that coming up, but right now, it is time to talk some high school football.
It's time for the Encova Insurance High School Player Award on Buckeye Roundtable.
One of the highlights of the Buckeye Roundtable show all season long was the presentation of the Encova Insurance Archie Griffin Athlete of the Week Award. During each Roundtable show, Encova Insurance and the Ohio State Sports Network honored a high school athlete for their outstanding play and team leadership. And Jim, the 2024 list of honorees was impressive, as it has been for many, many years.
Yeah, it has. And let me go through this whole list of guys that we did. Our weekly winners. Running back, linebacker, Mikel Quito out of Harrison Central. A running back, defensive back, Bradley Eaton out of Lakewood St. Edward. Quarterback, Jake Laverty out of Kirkland, who went on to the state final game against Coldwater. Running back, Carson Lindum of the Kings. Wide receiver, defensive back, Jake Yolnhake here with Columbus Bishop Watterson. Those guys were state champs, finished the season at 16-0. Defensive back, wide receiver, Joseph Gaines out of Lorraine. Guy I'm familiar with, a running back, linebacker, Henry Olinger out of Grandview Heights, the Bobcats. They had a successful season. Linebacker, Beckett Dotson out of Chardon. Running back, Marquise Davis, Cleveland Heights. Quarterback, Amari Valero Hudson from Dublin Kaufman. Quarterback, defensive back, Deshaun Green from Rhodes. Wide receiver, defensive back, Patrick Radigan out of Lake Catholic. Running back, Nolan Burley from Big Walnut here in Columbus. And then Mr. Ohio, quarterback, Matt Ponotowski out of Cincinnati Moeller. Was one of our winners, weekly winners. So congratulations to all those athletes. Great job representing your programs, your cities, your schools, all those type of things. And thanks to obviously to Encova for letting us do this each and every week.
Again, congratulations to all of our weekly recipients of the Encova Insurance Archie Griffin High School Athlete of the Week Award. Encova Insurance, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Time now for Buckeye Roundtable's American Dairy Association Mideast top performers and our whip around the state.
Well, obviously no whip tonight, but congratulations to all the state champions. Division I, you mentioned Moeller. Olentangy Liberty defeats Moeller for the title 28-14, much to the demise of Mr. Paul Keels.
Yes, unfortunate end of the season, but boy, Liberty sure looked really, really good the way they played that game.
Great ball game and able to shut down Moeller's offensive attack.
Division II, bad news for another Cincinnati team as Avon defeated Anderson 20-13.
Yeah, and Anderson has really not been a program that's been at that level for that long, but what about Avon, the way they played?
Division III, Jim's talked about him. Watterson, they defeat Toledo Central Catholic 19-14. Maybe the best championship game happened in D4 where Indian Valley defeated Sandusky Perkins 37-36.
Wow, that's quite something for a school that's been known for basketball over the years.
Congratulations to Ironton. They are the D5 champions. They beat Liberty Center 28-17. And then, of course, Jim always raves about the MAC schools. Coldwater wins in D6 over Kirtland 31-7. Marion Local shuts out Hillsdale 74-0 to take the D7 crown. MAC 105-7 in the state title games. That is just amazing.
And that was, what, 60-0 at halftime?
Yeah, it was. That's the, I think, 50th MAC football championship since they started their conference back in 1973, and had over 150 state champions in all sports come from that conference. So another great year.
Yeah.
You know, Coldwater only had one loss, and that was Marion Local. They shut them out, too, I think. So, I mean, Marion Local's a train right now. Those seniors went 64-0 throughout their career. I mean, that's so hard to do, to have, you know, 4 back-to-back 16-0 seasons. Tim Goodwin, they ought to just, you know, put him in the Hall of Fame right now. I mean, the type of career he's had, and he's done such a fantastic job. And, you know, also an educator, principal there at the school, and Marion Local does a fantastic job with his people. And, you know, they got 106 boys in the whole school. So it's not like, you know, they're just a dominant as far as numbers-wise, but they got good guys that come out, a bunch of, as my sisters say, farm boys. They come out there and just know how to play football.
It's impressive. I get this question. I'm sure you get it a bunch, too, from being over there. Again, small school, D7. What's the largest school you think that they could be really competitive with?
I would probably say maybe up to 5, and after that, it could be kind of tough.
I'm just, you know, because you get that question. They're so dominant.
Yeah,
It's like, man, it's like.
Yeah, they can't compete, you know, with, I don't think so, with, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4s, but, you know, maybe into the 5 they could be okay, I would think.
Our top performers from around the state was presented all season by the American Dairy Association Mideast. A reminder that chocolate milk has 8 grams of protein to fuel everyone, including Ohio State offensive lineman Donovan Jackson. He's built like a Buckeye, and you can be too. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com/built-like-a-Buckeye to learn more. Ohio State, Tennessee coming up on Saturday. Ohio State just one of 3 Big Ten teams in action. We previewed Indiana a little bit ago. Up next, we'll talk a little bit about the Penn State matchup with SMU with Steve Jones of the Lions Radio Network. That's next as tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
You're listening to Buckeye Roundtable, presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Buckeye fans. Union Home Mortgage's 1% down payment program is like kicking an extra point or scoring a 2-point conversion. You put 1% down, and Union Home Mortgage will kick in up to 2% on the house. Visit UHM.com or call 877-846-4968 today. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229. UHM will contribute up to 2% down, no greater than $2,000 towards the 3% down payment. Home buyers responsible for the remainder of the down payment. This offer is available for the purchase of a primary residence only. For full terms and conditions, visit UHM.com.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Toyota Thon is on. The perfect time to save on a new Toyota truck. Now through December 2nd, get 1.99 APR financing on a new 24 Tundra. Excludes TRD Pro. Or lease a Tacoma SR5 double cab for $279 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
Meier's giving back to the community this holiday season and needs your help. Meier's asking Buckeye Nation to bring new or gently used children's toys to Ohio State men's basketball, women's basketball, and men's ice hockey events. Beginning on December 1st to December 8th, there'll be collection boxes on the 4 main entrances on the main concourse of the Schottenstein Center. Meijer, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show presented by Burger King, where you rule, with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. The Foundation is operating a 50-50 raffle at each Ohio State home men's basketball games this season, with proceeds supporting community-based NIL opportunities and the Foundation charities. For more information on how you can participate, visit the Foundation social media channels. And
see, you know what it's like trying to read that.
I know. I've only read it 7,000 times throughout the season, but my goodness gracious.
Same.
What are you most looking forward to about Saturday, the matchup with Tennessee?
You know, obviously just to see how excited fans are to be back in that stadium. We know how disappointed everybody was with the way the Michigan game went and, you know, what that cost Ohio State. But just to see, as we've heard Ryan Day talk about today, moving forward. Can the fans move forward? Can the fans get behind this football team and really seize the opportunity and enjoy the experience of what's history? You know, a football program that's had so much history with great players, great coaches, great achievements, great plays. But this is a little bit of a piece of history, a December football game for the Buckeyes there.
No, it is historic, and, you know, it's a bowl game at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a playoff game, it's a bowl game, it's all those type of things. And, you know, if you don't take care of business, this is your last game of the year. There is no,
we know it's the last game at home.
Yeah, exactly.
We know that.
And, you know, there's no opportunity to go to those sunny cities and lay by the beach or something like that. This is what it's all about. So, no, to me, it's historic. It's a chance, like, again, we talked about with Tim May, a chance for some of these teams from the SEC to come to a cold weather. We've always kind of begged for that. Boy, I'd like to see them, you know, in December against Ohio. Now they get them.
Well, 2 other CFP games before we get to ours on Saturday. As we head to State College, Penn State will host SMU. We're joined by Steve Jones, play-by-play voice of the Nittany Lions. And, Steve, tell us about the build-up coming for this game. We know it's always a great environment over there at State College, but amping it up a notch for a playoff game, what's it like?
Well, think about this. The college football playoff was so fortunate because they had Texas over 100,000, Ohio State 104, 105,000, and Beaver Stadium with 110,000. Man, what a great weekend for them to kick off the first ever expanded college football playoff. And the build-up for this is probably the same as it is in Columbus. People are excited about it, the opportunity to play here. SMU's coming in. We're, by the way, in Dallas. It was 73 today, and the predicted temperature on Saturday here is 26 with a wind chill of 10. So, you know, I mean, so needless to say, they'll be welcome with open arms into the cold weather on Saturday.
Oh, great one. Let me ask you about resiliency on 2 fronts. How this Penn State team, after they lost to Ohio State, got right back on the horse and kept playing at a high level. And then how in the Big Ten championship game, when they fell behind, they were able to come back and make a game out of that. Yes, they didn't get the victory, but has that shown you what this team potentially can do when they've run into difficulty?
Well, a wise one. I will answer your question. And, you know, it did show me a lot because when they played Washington in the game after Ohio State, and Ohio State played really well, they scored the first 4 times they had the ball. I mean, in other words, they came out of the gate and they played, and they put the week before behind them and had a 28-0 lead at halftime. You look at the game against Oregon. Some other teams might have been blown out in that scenario, the way Oregon was playing offense. But they got themselves back into it because they have enough offense now to do that. And that makes a big difference for any team trying to make comebacks, the ability to have enough offense, running game, passing game, to get themselves back. So they are a resilient team. It is shown within games that they are. how they played at USC and came back and won in overtime, how they played at Minnesota and put the game away against Minnesota, in similar fashion how Ohio State put the game away with Penn State. So they've got that resiliency, and that's why teams like Ohio State and Penn State are in the playoffs, because they have that special resiliency that makes a difference.
Steve, you can really see how Drew Aller grew from game one, from the Ohio State game to the Big Ten championship. Just continues to get better and better each and every game, understanding his, what weapons he has at his access, and certainly seeing, Warren step up and have another great game. Got to think that it's going to be the same game plan against SMU.
Yeah, the big difference, Jim, is, experience. I don't care whether it's the college level where you were great, the NFL level where you were great. The game gets slower for you on the level you're at. And for Drew, he's going to be making his 27th career start at Penn State. So he's seen every conceivable speed of defense, every conceivable speed of game in 27 starts. I don't think you can put a price on experience, the game slowing down. He makes reads now that he may not have made a year ago today. The touchdown pass to Singleton against USC that tied the game up and sent it into overtime was the fourth read on the progressions. Fourth. Okay, the play to Warren in the Minnesota game that closed it out. The play is supposed to go to Singleton. Minnesota, which has a very good defense, flowed that way. He stopped, read it, and then went back to Warren the other side. He may not have made that play a year ago, and I think that's the big part for me, experience, and now I think he sees the entire field.
Steve, is part of the tribute to Abdul Carter on defense is that teams know they have to try and stop him, and they still can't?
My goodness, he has had a great year, and you guys see quality defensive ends all the time, and it's how they utilize him. They can still utilize him in a stand-up position in the middle of the field, so that means you have to account for him on every play. Where is he? And the fact that he moved to defensive end, where now it's not a running back that's picking you up. As a linebacker, when you're blitzing, most times it's a running back that picks you up. He's now going head-to-head with big 310-pound offensive linemen with length. And he's able to use his quickness and his personal strength to get around them. Thus, he had 20 tackles for losses, 11 sacks this year, and really put together an outstanding season.
Do you think this will be the last year for Carter at Penn State, going on to the NFL after this?
Geez, Jim, I don't know. To be honest with you, how high can the stock get?
I know.
He's got himself at a point where everybody has to make that personal decision. And, boy, it certainly seems like he's at a point where the next level would look awfully attractive to him, because I think he would be a top 10 pick.
First meeting between Penn State and SMU since 1978. Keels was just old enough to move up from 3-2 beer. Is there intrigue in the matchup, Steve, or more just the excitement to be in this position?
Skip, I'd like to point out I was at the 1978
game. Matt Barr had a big game.
And maybe some 3-2 beer there.
Right. And in fact, Paul went with me, and I bought him the 3-2 beer. So, it's interesting. In that game, Penn State had the ball on their own 29 and early in the fourth quarter, and they were losing. And Joe Paterno went for it on 4th and 1 at his own 29, and they got it, and it turned the game around. And that's one of the great moments out of that. Look, what's interesting about this is Ohio State plays Tennessee. Well, they don't know each other. Penn State plays the SMU. They don't know each other. Texas plays Clemson. They don't know each other. I mean, that's what's interesting about this. You have a lot of matchups here in the opening round where everybody's trying to get to know each other. And the first quarter of each game is going to be interesting as part of the feeling out process.
Steve Jones, Penn State Radio Network. Steve, we always appreciate your time. Have a great broadcast this weekend, okay?
You guys have a great broadcast. You're the best. Always enjoy you guys.
All right, Steve Jones, longtime voice of the Penn State Nittany Lions. He wasn't doing this in 1978.
No, I'm thinking he must have been a student that was in the stands.
The kid was right there.
Did he go to Penn State? Oh, nice.
Up next, Adam Rittenberg of ESPN will join. We'll talk about the entire field as the CFP. That's coming up next as tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
This is Buckeye Roundtable, presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelight.com. Safelight Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelight Repair, Safelight Replace.
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
Ohio State championship quarterback Cardale Jones.
As a child, I had the same hopes and dreams as other children. I just didn't have the same resources to achieve them, but I found the help I needed to be my best. I was a CareSource kid. CareSource is so much more than Medicaid. They help families overcome a lot of their day-to-day struggles, and that made a lasting difference in the lives of kids like me.
CareSource, your Medicaid, your choice. Visit caresource.com/Medicaid.
Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. Growing up in the family business, I've seen firsthand the joy and love that comes with finding the perfect engagement ring. For over 77 years, our family's been dedicated to providing the best quality, unmatched selection, and the guaranteed best price. From timeless classics to custom designs, we have the perfect ring for every love story. Let our family help you celebrate the moments that mean the most. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
I love the neighborhood where I grew up, but it was tough.
Ohio State championship quarterback Cardale Jones.
Football helped me find my direction, but I also needed the right support system. I remember seeing that CareSource heart around town and just knowing they had my back. That's the kind of difference they still make in neighborhoods like mine. And that means the world to so many children today. My name is Cardale Jones, and I was a CareSource kid.
CareSource, your Medicaid, your choice. Visit caresource.com/Medicaid.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This is Ohio State head football coach Ryan Day, asking you to help provide 2 million meals to feed our community. Just round up at the register today. Every dollar provides 10 meals for neighbors in need. Get in the game and let's tackle hunger.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. You're listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show presented by Burger King, where you rule. Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. The 2025 Buckeye Cruise for Cancer will set sail on the Silver Sea Silver Moon. It's an intimate ship with an even better experience, all-inclusive of beverages, shore excursions, taxes, and gratuities. Sail from Fort Lauderdale to bucket list ports like Jamaica and Nassau, Bahamas, with plenty of former Buckeye greats. Call 614-792-6204 to book today.
This is the Elk and Elk Report on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
In Ohio State and Tennessee coming up on Saturday, Jim Lachey, one of the big questions will remain on the offensive line for Ohio State. You reach this stage, everybody's good. How key will those guys up front be?
That's going to be the whole key, Skip. If our offensive line plays well and we're ability to run the football, get some big plays in that running game, Ohio State will win. But, that's the key. I mean, that's a question mark right now. Can they come out there and get that done? When you look at, the situations, Donovan Jackson now playing left tackle, I thought he's done a heck of a job, commendable job going from guard to tackle. Heck, they named him all Big Ten offensive guard. So, I mean, that just says what the type of year he had before he had to move out there, but also the unselfishness. There's not many guys that would make that move, but he chose to do that.
Our Two Deep Report was presented by Elk and Elk, injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
For Buckeye Roundtables from the Sidelines Report on the Ohio State Sports Network.
Talk a little CFP now. Adam Rittenberg of ESPN. Adam, thanks for your time. So much discussion since the field was announced. The biggest has been the seeding and the guaranteed buys to the conference champions. I get the idea behind it, Adam, but does the way this all came together maybe have backfired a bit? And will this be the biggest change, you think, when they're allowed to tweak after next year?
the whole number of teams could go up, and you could have guaranteed spots for the Big Ten and the SEC potentially if they get their way. But I think it's something they have to look at in terms of seeding, reseeding. Do you have this thing where the four highest rated conference champions get this automatic bye, or do you do something where if you're not one of those top four ranked and you win your league, maybe you get a home game in the first round of the playoffs as sort of a consolation prize. So I think, again, like all playoff systems, it's going to be re-examined, it's going to be tweaked, but a lot of changes could end up coming here in a couple of years.
Do you ever see a day where maybe they'll get rid of the conference championship games and just have a regular season conference champ?
Probably not, because they make money, and
it's all about money.
It's all about money, and I agree. I mean, there's not a lot of history. I mean, the Big Ten championship only started in 2011. A lot of these conference championship games are not historical games by any means, but they are money makers. And so, while those games have been de-emphasized a little bit because you're seeing teams like Penn State and Oregon both qualifying for the playoff. I think it's still the conference championship does matter, and for some leagues it's the only way to get in. So it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves. But I don't see them going away.
Adam, following up on that, was SMU's indication in the playoff field a vindication of having conference championship games and participating in them, even though SMU lost their game?
No doubt, Paul. And again, I don't know why you expand your playoff if the goal isn't to have a more diverse field, and by that I mean different leagues, different parts of the country that are represented. And if you're going to take a team that won all of its regular season games in a new conference, which SMU did, their only loss being a close loss very early to a good BYU team, and you're going to exclude them from the playoff based on a last-second field goal loss to Clemson in the ACC title game, again, I would really question why you expanded the playoff to begin with, and why we even play the games, because that would really devalue not just the championship game and making it to the championship game, but the entire journey that SMU took to get there. So I'm glad that they still rewarded SMU by including them in the field.
When you look at Indiana, Notre Dame, you got two transfer quarterbacks, Curtis Rourke out of Ohio, Riley Leonard came from Duke. You look at Ohio State, Will Howard, coming from Kansas State. You look at Texas, Quinn Ewers coming from Ohio State. Is that going to be the new way about this? You get a veteran quarterback in the portal and see if you can make a go of it and have a successful year.
No doubt. I mean, J.J. McCarthy last year has really been the exception in terms of national championship winning quarterbacks lately, although Stetson Bennett also from Georgia, although he did transfer in. He was a junior college guy, I forget. So most quarterbacks at this level will transfer. That's just the way it is. You're not going to have too many guys who wait their turn and then become a starter and start for a year or two and then either graduate or move on to the NFL. The likelier path for many of these players is to transfer at least once, if not twice, before they're finished. You look at Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. This is his third school. He started for all three, but this is his third school. And then on the other end, you have a guy like Drew Aller, who we found out is coming back to Penn State next year, who will play his entire career, we think, at Penn State, although you never know how things could turn out. So that's just where we're at in college football, is that quarterbacks are transferring and will transfer and continue to make a lot of money when they make those moves.
Adam, this is out of left field and outside of the college playoff. Is one of the unintended consequences of the transfer portal is what led to the situation with Marshall opting out of their bowl game?
Well, yeah, it's always possible when you have a coaching change, especially a somewhat surprising one after a team wins the conference championship. Then you have a lot of players who weren't happy with that. Regardless of what Marshall's administration thought of Coach Charles Huff, his players clearly thought highly of him because they did not want to stick around at Marshall and play for Tony Gibson, who I think is a really good coach, and I think he'll end up doing well there. But it's a really unfortunate thing to have such a large number of key players who went in the portal, and they had a guy like Mike Green, who not surprisingly went to the NFL draft, great pass rusher for Marshall, and that just leaves them with too thin of a roster to compete in a bowl game. We've seen this almost happen for other teams. LSU had a very thin roster for its bowl game against Kansas State a number of years ago after a coaching change. So this is what happens when you have all these things that kind of collide at the same point in the calendar: coaching changes, transfer portal, NFL draft declarations. In many cases, these are not playoff teams. You're going to have situations like the one with Marshall.
What was the reasoning why, when they went to the 12-game playoff, they decided to have the 5 through 8 host a home game with all the bowl games that are out there, all the positions? Why did they decide to do that, to have a home team host?
Well, I think you just look at the schedule, right? So unless you're going to start the playoff in the traditional bowl rounds, then you're going to have to do 3 additional rounds after that. Whereas the way that they did it, they said, okay, we're going to play playoff games on campus in the first round, 4 games. Then we're going to have 4 traditional bowl games around New Year's Day. 2 traditional bowl games will be the semifinals, and then a championship game. So, the alternative would really be, to be cutting out a couple of bowl games and having, 3 back-end rounds, neutral sites that are very, very different. So I think it's great. I mean, honestly, this is the round that I'm looking forward to the most. College football, major college football played on campus, where we all fell in love with the sport. All due respect to the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl, those are great games. But I got into college football because of campus, because of the atmosphere on campus. And we're going to have 4 great atmospheres, including there in Columbus this weekend. I think that's outstanding.
Adam, along those lines, last thing, in your opinion, of the 8 teams playing this weekend, who has the best chance to run the table and why?
It's interesting. Penn State really has a good draw, if you think about it, for a team that didn't win its conference, that didn't win a huge game all season. They get SMU coming into their building. That's a Southern team coming to the north. Big crowd. It's going to be tough for SMU. And then if they win that game, they get Boise State, a good team, but certainly a beatable team out in Arizona. And then we'll see what comes out of the other end of that bracket. I think there's a really good opportunity for James Franklin's team to get to the national championship game before they have to face an Oregon or an Ohio State, the 2 teams that they lost to, or a Texas. So I think being on that side of the bracket, especially with Georgia, being weakened by this quarterback injury to Carson Beck, and they've had a lot of other injuries all season, I think teams like Penn State, the winner of the Notre Dame-Indiana game, are in pretty good position if they're able to get through this first round.
Adam Rittenberg, ESPN. Adam, we always appreciate your time. Thanks for your insight, okay?
Thanks for having me.
More on Ohio State and Tennessee. We'll get a little volunteer report. Bob Kesling, the longtime voice of the Tennessee Volunteers, will join us next as tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
More of Buckeye Roundtable presented by Burger King coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Hey, Buckeye fans, Union Home Mortgage's 1% down payment program is like kicking an extra point or scoring a 2-point conversion. You put 1% down, and Union Home Mortgage will kick in up to 2% on the house. Visit UHM.com or call 877-846-4968 today. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229. UHM will contribute up to 2% down, no greater than $2,000 towards the 3% down payment. Home buyers responsible for the remainder of the down payment. This offer is available for the purchase of a primary residence only. For full terms and conditions, visit UHM.com.
We have acres of brand new Chevys, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, and Ram vehicles, as well as used cars and trucks that you're looking for at the Jeff Weiler Columbus Auto Mall in Canal Winchester. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we can find it at one of our 23 other locations. So come shop the lot or view over 2,000 cars right at your fingertips at JeffWeilerColumbusAutomall.com. Plus, use Weiler Direct to see monthly payments, value your trade, and get pre-approved. Rooted in family, driven by you.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Your Ohio State flagship station, The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show, presented by Burger King, where you rule. With Jim Lachey and Paul Keels, I'm Skip Mosic. Buckeye Roundtable is brought to you in part by Encova Insurance. Encova, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Buckeye Roundtable Insiders.
Saturday night, Ohio State and Tennessee, 8 o'clock from Ohio Stadium. Joined for a few minutes now by Bob Kesling, longtime radio voice of the Volunteers. And Bob, we'll get into the matchup in just a moment, but you've called hundreds of games during your long career. As someone who's from Ohio, Bob, how special is it for you to be able to call a game from Ohio Stadium?
Oh, it's really special. Well, Paul and I have talked about this before, but growing up in Dayton, and my dad was the drum major there in 47 and 48. My uncle was in the band. My sister is a distinguished alumnus from the music school and went on to the Metropolitan Opera. So we got some Ohio ties. But I was able to come down here and play freshman football, and I've stayed here since 1972. So I've got deep roots here at Tennessee. But you know, it's one of those bucket lists. I've called games at the Rose Bowl, and I've called games at the Orange Bowl and Notre Dame, but never at Ohio Stadium, and I'm looking forward to it just because of all the times I went through with my dad, watched the band and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be special.
Bob, you still have the Buckeye tree in your backyard down there in Knoxville?
I do. I when we bought this house, I wrote a letter to the governor, James Rhodes, and said I can't find a Buckeye tree. They're wild down here, but you can't buy them in a nursery. And he sent me a sack full of Buckeye seedlings. I actually gave one to Don DeVoe, who was at that time the basketball coach, played at Ohio State, of course. I don't know if his grew, but mine grew, and so I dedicated it to my dad. So I got a Buckeye tree, and I'll bring you some Tennessee Buckeyes, Paul, on Saturday night. How about that?
Sounds good.
Tennessee's always been a special place in my heart. I took a recruiting trip back there when Johnny Majors was the head coach. Phil Fulmer was the offensive line coach. Dom Capers was the guy that recruited me, so I got a chance to come to a couple games there on campus. Billy Bates was my host. It was a lot of fun there. And, of course, I played with Raleigh McKenzie and Reggie McKenzie there, so I got a chance to – we called those guys Big Orange all the time. Now, saying that, your sister Diane, your dad at Ohio State, now are they going to be rooting for the Buckeyes come Saturday?
No, well, I don't know. Diane said she might wear scarlet pants and an orange top, so that may be the way it goes. So we'll see. But anyway, it's just a great – I just think everybody here, guys, they're just really excited about this matchup, and Tennessee's excited about getting in the playoffs. And after you lost, to really a tough game to Arkansas, and then you lost to Georgia. You kind of had to get some help to get in, but they did, and now they're in it, and now there's a lot of momentum here. They think they got a good chance to win the game. And it's interesting that this Tennessee team is kind of built more like a Big Ten team. They want to run the football. And if you look at their stats, they're incredibly balanced. They rush for 232 yards a game, and they pass for 230. So they want to run the ball with Dylan Sampson. They've rushed for over 2,500 yards in each of the 4 seasons that Josh Heupel's been here. So their mentality is we want to run the ball first, make you put guys in the box, and then we're going to try and throw it over your head. And that philosophy has really worked pretty well for Tennessee. And Dylan Sampson has just had a monster year. I mean, he rushed for over 1,000 yards just in SEC competition. And then he's over, and he averaged 131 yards per game on the ground. So and 22 touchdowns. So he's had a monster year and just been one of the really best players in the SEC this season.
Bob, we see how high Tennessee is ranked defensively in many national categories. What is it makes the defense so tough?
Front seven, and they lost their best linebacker, Peely. They lost him early in the season, but they've had other guys step up. James Pierce is a guy who will be in the Ohio State backfield all night long, just an all-SEC performer, great pass rusher, supposed to be a first-round draft pick. But they've got veteran guys up front, and they go 10 deep. Rodney Garner is the defensive line coach, and he's been around this league for 30 years, it seems like. But they developed depth, and they had a lot of guys come back for an extra season, and that has just given them not only depth, but it's given them veteran depth, and that has been a key. So they rotate guys like, hockey lines. They'll bring 3 fresh linemen in every time they get a chance. And with that kind of depth, they've been able to really put great pressure on the quarterback and get a lot of tackles for loss. And another key to this team has been they didn't know exactly what the secondary was going to look like. Will Brooks is a walk-on. He's a starting safety. Well, he's played great. And then they went out and got Jermon McCoy, and you wondered how good he could be. Well, he's been one of the best cover guys in the SEC. He's got 4 interceptions on the season. He's been a real big surprise and a big bonus. So he's one of those lockdown cornerbacks, and I don't know who they'll put him on Saturday night, but he'll have a chance to lock down some of those Ohio State wide receivers. And if he can do that, that's going to make things tough on Ohio State, I think.
I see with Josh Heupel, obviously in his 4th year, he's lost 14 games. Has there been any heat on him through his 4 years there at Tennessee?
Oh, no. He inherited a dumpster fire when he came here. And he only had 58 players when he came here, so he's had to restock the roster. And then if you remember, there was, because of the last regime, there was an NCAA investigation hanging over the program. And that went on for about a year and a half, and that really slowed down his recruiting. And so when you look back at what he inherited, they were 3-7 when he came here with no players, and what he has done in terms of recruiting guys and getting something. I don't even know if they had 5 offensive linemen that could play in the league when he first got here. So he just kept on trying to restock the roster, and he's really done a good job. And he's been a good recruiter for Tennessee, and this roster is pretty solid and got some depth.
Bob, safe to say that Nico Iamaleava getting to start at quarterback in the bowl game last year springboarded him into his play this year?
Yeah, I think so. He played some mop-up games, and then he got a chance to, when Joe Milton opted out, he got a chance to play and start, got some confidence, really played well against Iowa. And then, Paul, I think when he came into the season, everybody just thought Nico had such high expectations, and he was kind of Peyton Manning and Hendon Hooker and Heath Schuler and all those guys rolled into one. And people were even talking about being a Heisman Trophy candidate. Well, that's really unfair for a freshman quarterback who started one game. So it was slow, and they didn't have the big splash plays they were expecting to have when Hendon Hooker was here. They were expecting him just to get out there and launch 50-yard touchdown passes time after time. And that just didn't happen. He was a little bit off tempo-wise, and there's a learning experience and trying to pick up second and third receivers. But when you look at him, Paul, when you watch him warm up Saturday night, you'll see he's got all the arm talent that you want. He's 6'6". He looks the part, and he's gotten better and better as the season has gone along. And when you can run the ball, that takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback, and that's been the case with Nico.
Bob, it seems like your offensive line's been pretty consistent all year long. I saw, Dane Davis started a couple games there at left tackle, and you had a couple guys, besides Spraggins, Lampley started one game at right guard, but all the other guys have been pretty consistent all year long. Has that been a key to your offensive success so far?
Yeah, it has been, and those guys are all veterans. Cooper Mays is all SEC performer and a guy that's in the running for the Remington Award, and he's a guy that's been around 5 years, and they've got a couple of 6-year guys up front. They went out and got Lance Hurd from LSU to be the other tackle. And so all those guys have played a lot of football, and it shows. I mean, they have really played pretty well. You can't run the ball as well as they've run the ball without having a really good offensive line. And Cooper Mays has been the key to all of it because he's able to get them lined up and pick up the calls, and he's worked really well with Nico to make sure that they play well up front. But they've been able to control the line of scrimmage in most of the games this year. Georgia, they had trouble. and didn't really move them off the ball very, very often. But other than that, their offensive line has been a bright spot.
Bob Kesling, we know you're retiring at the end of the season. I had to remind Paul, we were down in Knoxville for the Sweet 16 back when you were introduced, the big press conference.
That's right. I remember that. And, gosh, it's flown by, hasn't it, Paul? It's amazing.
It is. And, we're very proud of you being a native Ohioan, and congratulations on that announcement, Bob.
All right. Well, it's been it's flown by, and 26 years have been great. And I probably speak for you guys, too. Just making history Saturday night, being in this first playoff, however it goes Saturday night, it's still special to be there and be in Ohio Stadium, and I'm sure the people in Columbus are revved up. So we're looking forward to it.
Bob Kesling, voice of the Vols. Bob, we appreciate it. We see you up here on Saturday, okay?
All right, Skip. Thanks. See you guys Saturday.
All right, up next, we will wrap things up tonight with some chalk talk as tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show continues.
You're listening to Buckeye Roundtable, presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
Where more than 1,700 scientists are working on new treatments and new hope for every form of cancer.
You're making the choice to have the most advanced treatments, many of which were developed right here.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right. Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. From biking to bench presses, Milk's protein helps you build lean muscle and gain more from your workouts.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Ohio State championship quarterback Cardale Jones.
As a child, I had the same hopes and dreams as other children. I just didn't have the same resources to achieve them, but I found the help I needed to be my best. I was a CareSource kid. CareSource is so much more than Medicaid. They help families overcome a lot of their day-to-day struggles, and that made a lasting difference in the lives of kids like me.
CareSource, your Medicaid, your choice. Visit caresource.com/Medicaid.
Toyotathon is on, and it's the perfect time to wrap up the year with a new, stylishly affordable Corolla. Now through January 6th, you can get low-rate financing or a great lease on a new Corolla or Corolla Hybrid. Lease a gas-powered 25 Corolla LE now for $219 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show with Jim Lachey, Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. We are proudly presented by Burger King. Visit your local BK restaurant to grab your $20 Buckeye Blitz bundle that includes 2 Whoppers, a cheeseburger, 3 small fries, 3 small drinks, and a custom OSU crown. Only at Burger King, where you rule.
Buckeye Roundtable. Chalk Talk.
Is that for one person?
Can be. Depends on how hungry we are. Delivery of the game.
Okay.
Who needs to deliver, seriously, for Ohio State to get the W? Who most needs to deliver for Ohio State to get the W in advance?
And I'll say it again. I think it's that offensive line. They're going to have to step up and play their best game against a very talented defensive line for Tennessee. You don't want to get those guys in pass rush situations, so you better have the ability to run the football. And then, again, we got to be creative. It's just not the guys up front. We got to move those gaps outside, reverses, whatever we have to do to make some plays. And then if that's not working, don't be afraid to throw that up, rip up that, and just start throwing the football to our talented receivers that we have down the field and, make those things where they're quick, 2 or 3-step drops where you're getting rid of that football in a hurry.
How about special teams? 3 games in a row leading up to Michigan. Big special teams play, including the punt return by Caleb Downs against Indiana. Certainly the missed field goals against Michigan proved to be costly. Hopefully that gets straightened out, but make some big plays on special teams.
That I was going to ask this later, and I hate to bring it up and I hate to go there, but the confidence level you have if this game comes down to a field goal.
Well, certainly Jaden Fielding has been going into that game. He'd only missed 1 kick all year, but it's a mental thing. And, hopefully just keep encouraging him. Point him the right direction, keep encouraging him, make sure that he's, getting off the bus with the right foot in front of the left, whatever it is. But, we know kickers can be different animals at times, and this is a guy that, for the most part, has been very consistent.
No, he has been very consistent. Like you said, you got to have confidence in him that he can go ahead and put it through. And, his long this year is 46. I think his career long is 47.
Yeah.
When you look at Tennessee's kicker, Max Gilbert, he's 19 of 25, so he's missed 6. He's got a long of 52, perfect on his PATs at 52, out of 52. So, there are some things there in that kicking game, but, that's going to have to be key to your special teams, like you said, making plays, whether it's a punt return, a block punt, a snap going over the head. We have to be there to make the plays.
We heard Bob Kesling last segment talk a little bit about Tennessee, and you reach this stage of the season, everybody's good. Coach John Cooper tells us all the time, guys, don't make them better than they are, though. Like Ohio State, Tennessee has lost 2 games, both on the road, at Arkansas and at Georgia. How good are they?
Well, they beat Alabama, and certainly Alabama's a team that maybe folks have some questions about, but it's a team that has shown they can play at a very high level, and they're like everybody else. This is new life. So certainly they've got a challenge of coming on the road. We understand that a number of the Tennessee fans have maybe wormholed their way into getting some tickets to be able to come into this game and make an Orange presence, but like Coach Cooper says, and like everybody else say, if they're still here playing, they're still alive and they still have a chance.
Yeah, I think when you look at, one weakness of this Tennessee team is, again, their offensive line, good run blockers, but they've given up 26 sacks. Ohio State's offensive line's given up 13. Defensively for Ohio State, we've been able to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback at 35 sacks. If you can have the type of crowd noise that we had against the Hoosiers when we were able to come up with 5 key sacks in that ball game, and obviously one of those was by Cody Simon was a sack and a fumble. That turns a ball game. I mean, you saw how the momentum changed in the game when Ohio State was able to do that. So crowd noise, even if they do have 25, 30,000 fans here, we still have 70 plus. So you got to be loud in those type of situations. And it's a night game everybody's talked about. You got all day to get revved up. Now it's going to be cold. I don't know if you're going to be sitting out in the parking lots there for 6 or 7 hours before the game and then sit up in the stands for 3 or 4 hours. But we're counting on a great effort.
We know what Ohio State can do offensively. We've seen it. Many on the offense, I'm sure, have a very bad taste in their mouths from 2 weeks ago. Do you look for a quick start from that unit? And I guess any concerns if they sputter a bit coming out of the gates?
Well, yes, Skip. You look for a quick start, and you look to see if they can't get the ball into those playmakers right away. Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Ibuka, something they couldn't do when they needed to do it against Michigan. Get Will Howard back on the beam, because we saw when he's played at a high level how well he can play. Can he, as a rushing threat, be the factor that maybe they started to try to do against Michigan? That's kind of the X factor and the reason he was brought here.
Yeah, that running factor by Will Howard, when he did break out of the pocket, he got nicked up a little bit, and had to come out for a couple plays, and, that might have changed the course of that ball game. So you got to be careful when you are running the quarterback. And, don't be afraid to get down. Don't try to take on a guy. Just get positive yards, get down, slide, do what you have to do. But obviously this would be a big game, not only for our defensive line, our linebackers have to be solid against the run, but also our safeties. Caleb Downs, consensus All-American. He's got to have a great ball game. He's gone against these guys before in the SEC. Lathan Ransom, another great player, over 200 tackles for his career. Both those guys are going to have to play well. And then we're going to have to limit penalties there by our cornerbacks.
It's going to be chilly. We know that. High at 25, low of 10. Buckeyes in the NFL to take us home, Jim.
Well, how about Sam Hubbard? Got his first career touchdown reception, a 2-yarder. But that Kesling came up with a PCL injury in his knee there, so he might be missing some time after that. For the year, Sam has 25 tackles, 2 sacks. He's been battling a hamstring injury. He had a pinky injury. I thought I read where he's the longest tenured Bengal on the team at 7 years, so congratulations to him. And then it seems like I mention this guy every week, but Terry McLaurin is really having a great year. The 29-year-old in his 6th year with Commanders now has 11 TDs. That's the first time that the Commanders have had a wide receiver 10-plus TDs since Gary Clark, a teammate of mine. Right now, Terry's got 68 receptions on the year, 36 career touchdowns for Terry McLaurin, and just fantastic career. Tonight, doubleheader, Bears-Vikings. No Buckeyes on either one of those teams, which is kind of rare. Atlanta plays Vegas. You got Zach Harrison, Liam McCollum, both with Atlanta. So those guys will get a chance to check those guys out.
All right, guys, great job as always. Hopefully we're doing this in a couple of weeks.
Sure,
that means that something positive happens on Saturday. Buckeye Roundtable, presented by Burger King, has been brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance, the American Dairy Association Mideast, Window Nation, and by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. For our producer, Bodie Wells, and for Jim Lachey and Paul Keels, I'm Skip Mosic. Thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
If you need a new furnace, don't settle for a quote north of $7,000. Call your local Sears Heating and Cooling team instead, because those prices are unnecessary. At Sears, we're not plumbers or electricians. We are your Central Ohio heating experts. We keep our overhead low and pass those savings on to you. Save thousands and enjoy a 10-year parts and labor warranty, all without sacrificing service or quality. So get a quote from Sears Heating and Cooling and understand why we are proudly celebrating 75 years as your partner in comfort. SearsHeatingCooling.com.
Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at ColumbusSubaru.com, or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
During the 2024 Subaru Share the Love event, buy a new 2024 Subaru Forester for 0.9% for up to 48 months. And Subaru will donate $250 for every vehicle leased or purchased this month.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 48 months on 2024 Subaru Forester. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 12/31/24.
Shop Meijer for thousands of last-minute gifts without any shipping. All ready for pickup in-store today. Choose from select board and card games like Jenga and Guess Who, now just $10 or less. Save on select Lego playsets, now 30% off. And Melissa and Doug toys are 25% off. Get everything you need for the holidays in one stop at Meijer. And make your festive season a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Do your good-looking shoes hurt and you don't want to wear ugly shoes? At the Good Feet store, we can help you wear your heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Dormar, your climate hero.
Dort, what's that guy yelling about in my noisemaker?
Dormar, your climate hero.
Your climate hero, you fossil?
What's a climate hero?
That's Dormar, our same-day heating and AC company we've used for 60 years.
Who?
Dormar, your climate hero.
Come on, Dad, you laugh every time you hear their Tidy Whitey commercials.
Yep, those are funnier.
Dormar, your climate hero.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.com.